Hi, this is Kim, business advisor and supply chain expert, and welcome back to my podcast, The Morning Mood. And we are back for another Freedom Friday with Tiana. I know you thought we were done. We're not. We came up with more shit to talk about. I know. I can't believe it.
We don't know any other way.
I know. So today we're going to talk about voice and the freedom of using your voice.
Come on.
Tiana, what are your thoughts on this?
Man, the reality is that we all have a point of view.
Mm.
And we've got to be able to share it and know that, yes, there's a courage that comes with it, but we have to all be open to accepting that our voice matters
Yeah.
and actually needs to be heard.
Yeah. And that's a hard thing for some of us to accept, right? For me in particular, where, I wasn't necessarily encouraged to use my voice all the time, which how the hell I got to a podcast, will never figure that out. But maybe it was just all that pent up voice that had to get out. But I think there is always sort of this fear that you're going to hurt somebody or you're going to offend someone. All of those who have been offended by me are like, I cannot believe that she would actually think that. But anyway, some people do. But so we hold back, right? We hold the truth back.
We do, but here's the piece in that. Having a voice doesn't mean we have to be the loudest in the room.
Exactly.
Right? Having that voice is the courage to speak uncomfortable truth. So some people may be upset about things, but the real thing is it's not about an argument to win something. It's just to create a better path forward for everyone in the room. It's like when that time comes for you to speak, is that thing that if you're that person who has that fear, know that when your voice shows up and you say that thing that was uncomfortable for everyone to actually say in the room, you have now just shifted the room. You've made a difference.
Yeah.
And people actually are now listening for that point of view to show up more often.
Yeah.
But it's okay. Doesn't have to be the loudest, doesn't have to be the most talkative.
Yeah.
But make sure you share.
Yes. I want to dive deep on that for a minute. Okay. So, because in the age of influencers and an endless motherfucking stream of talking heads, this is not about how much you talk or how loud you speak or any of that stuff. We're not when we talk about voice, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about speaking your truth, speaking it to your tribe, hearing from your tribe, and being authentic in your voice. It's not about being loud.
That part. And it's so important to know that tribe, your village. It is getting to the core of, I just learned this term literally last night. Was like, what is their hidden problem? And basically, what is yours?
Yeah.
Typically, it's a mirror situation.
The shadow negotiations.
Or the shoulder, the left, right? Once you're in there and you now address things with your kind warmth, a level of integrity, oh my goodness, what a difference it makes for them and for you.
And for you.
On that thing.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of those things because we all got the things.
Oh, we all got things. Yes. So fortunately, I got a chance to learn this a long time ago, but there is always a shadow negotiation, right? There's always something going on that we cannot see with the other person. And a lot of times within ourselves, if you haven't done the work, there's some shit going on that you don't even know what's going on. But as soon as you can tap into that and you can tap into what you think their issue or their shadow is all about, then you can get somewhere. And let me give you an example. Let's give an example of this because it's really important. To me, the example that I was taught and I learned this on was I was negotiating for a job for a company I already worked for. And as part of this negotiation, I was going to potentially be the highest paid person in the company at this branch, which had a lot of people who'd been there for a really long time. And I'm not saying they weren't worth it, but it was just one of those situations where I had some leverage.
Yeah.
And I knew that even though this guy was saying, no, what he was really worried about was what those people were going to say. if they found out. It wasn't about the money. I knew he had the budget. It was about his reputation and the respect of the rest of the team. So you know what we did? We negotiated more vacation.
I love that, because now you met him where he was and found still the benefit for yourself.
Yeah, I wanted 4 weeks vacation. The difference between what I wanted and what I wanted in pay and what he wanted to pay me, and when we kind of mixed it all on together, I'm like, all right, 2 extra weeks vacation and I'll make it work.
And
he saved face.
He saved face, but in that, I call that the no sugar truth. You just put it out there like, this is what's necessary for you.
Yeah.
And he put it out there, but this is my concern. And because you were both willing to say what you needed, you were able to then come to a place where your voices were both heard. That makes a difference.
It makes a huge difference. Yeah. So, and you talk a little bit too there, you talked about, hey, being the person in the room that says the thing that nobody else wants to say. Talk about how you get there.
By listening.
Oh, God damn, girl, that's good.
Like, the only way you can get there is to really hear what people are saying. Like, so that's why it's okay to sit back, and why it's even better not to be the loudest person in the room, because you have an opportunity to really hone in and get to the core of the matter.
Yeah.
That's the only, that's why we got 2 ears and 1 mouth.
Oh my God.
Like, you heard that as a child.
So that's a really good point. To get to that point where you can say the uncomfortable truth, you have to understand what's going on.
Period.
And you can't do that if you're talking. You got to be able to hear it. That's very true.
The other piece of listening is also knowing, then asking the questions to build clarity.
Yeah. Yes.
For yourself before you come out of pocket as well. Like,
there's nothing more embarrassing than like hearing something and then jumping up and being like, oh no, I know how to fix that. And then going on a tirade and they'll be like, yeah, we tried that last week.
That part.
Thank you for your TED Talk, Kim.
That part. That's that other critical step in any room, any conversation.
And there's another piece of this too I want to dig into, because I was talking to Connie Kristovich. Girl, you're coming on the podcast. She's coming. And Connie and I were talking about this, and she was talking about some of her frustrations with how things were handled at Nordstrom. And one of her biggest frustrations was that no one asked any fucking questions. She said, all of these people came in and they're like, no, we're just, and nobody said, hey, what have you tried before? How has this worked? Like, It was just assumed that everything was done incorrectly. Everybody was incompetent. And here we go.
That's the worst.
It's the worst. So what and all right, before I go down, let me just climb off the soapbox, because I may or may have not done this in my past, but it is the worst. We all learn. So anybody out there who's worked with me in the past, they're like, oh girl, seriously, you're going to say, no, you're right. I may have done that. She may have been talking about me. I don't know. But what happens when you do that is that you break all trust. There's no trust.
Out the door.
Out the door. And you think that you're garnering respect because you're being commanding and you're making decisions and you're going to make shit happen. You're absolutely doing the opposite.
Those folks will never support you, will never work with you. And all the things you so fancily came up with, that this is all the things that have to be done.
Yeah.
Even if they didn't try it before, it has been
trying it now.
They're not trying it now. Yep.
And sometimes they will just actively work against you and just be like, you know what? I'm just going to make it really extra hard now.
Because you also don't have the power yet to do anything about them or their unwillingness to support you.
Yeah.
It's going to make that journey for you that much harder, and you probably won't be there much longer.
No, you won't. So listening is key. So as you said, how did you get to the point where you're in a room and you're in a position to maybe speak an unchangeable truth? Is first you had to listen to what was going on, and that is the most important part. Yeah, and you had to hear it. And the other thing, since we're kind of on this listening in silence piece of it, by the way, silence can be the loudest voice in the room.
Preach.
It really can. Yes. I can't tell you how many situations I've been in where I've been like,
sit back.
I'm just going to let all this play out and see what bodies are left at the end, and then I'll deal with it. But if I jump in the middle of this, I'm going to get taken down with the team.
I know my mouth can get me in trouble.
Girl, I built a whole podcast on that.
I know that. I've lived a life of my mouth and my stubbornness getting me in trouble.
Yeah.
But it is something else to not say a word. And when that word finally comes out, ooh, be cautious.
Yes. And here's another thing I've learned too, is that in those situations, sometimes your message is much louder when you wait for them to ask.
Absolutely. Because here's the piece, they're now willing to listen. Whereas in the midst, if you try to interject in the midst of, that's all about their voice in that moment.
Yep.
There's no point.
Yeah, there's no point.
And especially as a woman and being the only woman in a space, that's just the added. And it's going to frustrate you more than they even notice. Let's be real. So if you sit back, trust when they ask, because they will. They will. That's
they will ask. They will ask. They can't help themselves. And I do want to dig in on this a little bit, because what you and I are saying is actually almost completely counter to every single bit of advice that professional women have been provided since Sheryl Sandberg, which was lean in, right? Voice.
Oh, that nonsense. Yeah. Let me tell you.
Oh my God.
I have to say one thing. I can't not. That lean in is why so many women are in the situation they're in now. I never got into it. I honestly, I'm learning more about it now as an after effect than I actually knew when it was happening.
Yeah.
But I'm like,
no.
It has caused more damage for more senior women leaders than good.
I agree. I was not a fan of the whole message. And that's why I want to bring a different message to the table, which is lean the fuck back.
Lean back.
Lean back. That's not to say you don't have a voice and you don't make your voice heard, but there is a time for you to make your voice heard. And it is much easier to get your point across when they come and ask you for it. And they will ask. You just have to position yourself to be there to answer it. And if you have to jump in, go. But getting in the fray does never help anybody.
Here's the thing, not saying don't, right? It's know when you just got to know the timing. You've got to build that muscle. And once you have that muscle, then you will always know the right time. I know, I can see it coming. What's happening? What's on your mind?
It was just one of those things we talk about building those muscles. And it was one of those big SVP meetings and operations back at Amazon. And the SVP of fulfillment technology, Nadia, wanted something. And she was the only female SVP. And I think I adored her. I still look up to her because she was cold-hearted killer.
Yeah.
And she was Russian.
She didn't play.
Just cold. Yeah. She did not play. She was awesome. And she wanted something, and the other SVPs were kind of ganging up against her. And she intentionally riled them all up. Intentionally said stuff that she knew would upset them. She got them all riled up and fighting with each other, and then called a break. Most fucking brilliant thing I've ever seen in my life. So of course I'm like a little puppy, running after her to the bathroom because I'm like, what the hell just happened? And I walk in and she's checking her makeup. She's like, I'm expecting to walk in to find her all upset and needing to vent and let it out. She's like, oh, that was good. That was good. And I'm like, holy shit, what just happened? And she got what she wanted. It was amazing. But she rarely spoke in meetings. Yep. She was always very quiet. She never raised her voice. And a lot of times she sat back until everybody did all the talking and the figuring out. And at the end, because they had to get SVP sign off, they'd be like, well, Nadia, what do you think? And she'd be like, oh, well. And she had the room.
That part. That part. But that goes once again to believing you've got to be the loudest one.
Yeah.
And that is...
You did not.
You do not. You do not.
You do not.
Sit back with your popcorn and a cup of tea.
The truth is, a lot of times they'll do a lot of work for you. Once you figure it out, a lot of times it's a lot less energy because you're like, you know what, you can just all fight it out. And then I'll deal with the scraps that are left.
And that's when they're so exhausted. What you've now compiled from the noise makes the most sense.
It does. It does. I can tell you how many times I've done it. It's like, okay, everybody just, all right, once you guys like hash it all out, we'll deal with what's left. And then we'll go. And then I'm going to save all this energy from hearing it out. So let's go. So we've been talking a lot about voice.
Yes.
I think another piece of voice, so we've talked about, it's not about being loud. It's not about talking the most.
Correct.
I do think it's about authenticity.
Absolutely. It gets to the core of whom you are. That's when I was talking about when you are talking to when you said tribe, to your village, right?
Yeah.
When you are talking to your people, that in its essence is the core of whom you are. Right?
Yeah.
So that is how you are able to bring your authentic self to any conversation at the table, not trying to meet all these other people. You may need to understand their truths so you can better connect, but it should always be from whom you are first and foremost. That's it.
Yes. And I think another thing about authenticity is that everybody has their own authenticity. And I'm going to tell you from my personal experience, the more authentic you are yourself, the more you can accept other people's authenticity.
That's it.
It's a magic thing. I don't know why it works, but the more you're comfortable with your own flaws, your own fucked upness, your own uniqueness, your own specialness. My Alicia, my coach, I've had her on the podcast, and she's like, "You talk shit to yourself too much."
I'm correcting myself. Like, let me take care of what's happening at home.
Be positive. But all your uniqueness, all your gifts, all of your positive attributes. Thank you, Alicia. But when you can honor all that in yourself, you can honor it in other people because you're not offended by it. It's not challenging you because you know who you are, and it's easier than to understand who other people are.
Correct. You received it. It's almost a gift. It really is a gift.
It really is a gift. It's painful getting there. I did a podcast a while back with Chaz Horn, and he said something that was very interesting and sort of related to this, in that energy and truth and all that stuff is like a river, right? It has to flow.
Yes.
It has to go in and it has to go out. It's like a bay, right? It has to flow. If you just intake, you become a pond.
Come on.
And then you become stagnant.
Yes. Yes.
I was like, brilliant.
Yeah.
There has to be a flow, right? Either bay in or out or a flow through. But you can't just keep receiving.
No.
You become stagnant.
No.
Yeah.
It goes the other way as well. You can't also be the giver.
Yeah, there has to be the flow, the in and out, the in and out.
You have to. So all the givers out there who's like, what are you talking about? I can't receive. Listen. Stop.
No, you have to.
Stop. And
you don't have a choice.
That's a personal conversation I had to have with myself, because I'll tell you, this season has been a season of receiving, and it's been truly a gift of not only being the giver, and that exchange. I call it the value exchange. That exchange is humongous layered on top. When you said energy, I was like, oh,
yeah. No, the energy has been amazing. Yeah.
That knowing what I'm trying to get to is knowing what gives you energy and what yields your energy also helps you understand what value you bring and what value you give, as well as what value you need to receive. That balance is huge.
It is I said cool. I don't know why I said it's cool because it is cool. Like, once you get there, it's hard to explain.
It
It is
takes
cool.
it's cool. It takes your breath away.
It does. It kinda takes your breath away.
Mhm. Mhm.
It is an amazing thing. So how we got here is authenticity and voice and that what it takes to get there. So once you get back to the authenticity of self, authenticity of voice, and that's a lot of hard work, it is much easier to hear other people's authenticity.
That part. That
Yep,
part.
100%.
Awesome.
All right, Tiana, that is us for today on voice, unless you have anything else you wanna add?
Not the last thing in voice, maybe I'll just
Yes.
give you is understanding how to architect your no so you can better say yes to things.
Yeah.
Because people, I think there's that last piece of voice of when
Yes.
do I speak up, when don't I? But understanding um part of what you just shared, what you need and what you
Yeah.
don't, that can
Yeah.
help clear the path for you and the others around you. So always
Yes.
know that your voice and what you need to affirm also
Yeah.
comes with what you need to no longer have.
Yes. That's part of that authenticity piece of like, yeah, of saying, "Hey, I now understand this and we're not gonna do it anymore."
That's it.
It doesn't add value, and a lot of times it's a value conversation. It no longer adds value to my life.
Fabulous. That's
That
all.
happens a
That's all.
lot.
I think we got everything else in our
Alright. Okay.
conversation.
Alright, we're gonna be back in our, next episode, and we're gonna talk about rewriting your history.
Let's tell
Right?
your stories. Come on.
Rewriting your story. That's what it is.
Come on. Let's tell it.
I'm excited about this, really excited, because our stories change.
That part.
They do.
See you next
Yep.
time.
Alright, come on back. We'll see you next time.